it's crazy that in our lifetimes we've just seen Joe Rogan, of all people, just interview the former president and a vice presidential candidate. It's just wild. It's just mad. Joe Rogan, the UFC guy, the Fear Factor guy, the comedian, kind of comedian guy nowadays. But yeah, the kind of comedian guy has just interviewed the fucking candidates for 2024 election. That's just insane to think about, This is the craziest lifetime. And we're kind of blessed to be in it. Think about this 100 years ago. Who would have fucking thought some fucking comedian would be interviewing these people? Think about it. Imagine you gave someone a time traveling machine and they came to this position right now. It's a bit mad. And those things in crazy views. And that's why I was like, bro, Joe Rogan, if he goes at this pace, he will die a billionaire. Joe Rogan has made the right moves and has ultimately just bet on himself, and it's the most ultimate bet on himself. He owns his own podcast. It's not a studio or anything. He does it himself. He runs it himself. He can really do what he wants with the podcast, and he has transformed that whole space as well. He's just a leader and pioneer of that space. And even the thing about podcasts is it's a Spotify podcast, but you see clips of it on YouTube. You see, you can now see the whole podcast on YouTube. And that's kind of mad because I was like, why can you see it? Because it was never the case before. Because for a year or two now, it's just been Spotify exclusive, and I have Spotify, so I'm fine. But I was like, it's never been on YouTube. But I just think this is probably some crazy bargaining chip that Joe Rogan is doing right now. He's using this to be like, you gotta pay me more if you want exclusive rights. And I was like, how much money is he gonna get now? Because I remember last time it was hundreds of millions to be Spotify exclusive, right? So what about now in this market? How much is the value of Joe Rogan? If he can pull a president, what can you really say to him? You know what I mean? Really and truly, there's not much. And it's insane because I want to just digress to another point, to the podcast itself, where he was actually kind of grilling Donald Trump, but he was also kind of not, so he was asking the questions everyone wanted to know. He was asking the fundamental questions and the things you'd want to hear from Donald Trump, but also at the same time he was kind of being chummy with him. I think he himself was almost in awe at the fact that he was interviewing the president. He himself realized oh, what a crazy moment, and he said it himself on another podcast he was on. But yeah, so it's just insane that this whole thing is just even happening right now. And even with the one with the vice president guy, him, JD Vance, I don't really like him, but even with him, that's 12 million views in 2 days, and it's kind of crazy because I was like, is he gonna get Kamala on this? And I realized, no, he's not, because Kamala went on Shannon Sharp's podcast, and I was like, oh, this is crazy, because you can kind of see the divide, and you can kind of see who their fan base is and who they're appealing to. And these guys know this. They spend millions of dollars just trying to find the people, the target audience, and you can kind of see who they're appealing to. And when it comes down to it, because I think the election's in a week or so, and it's mad because she went on Shannon Sharp's podcast, she went on SNL, she did all that. And also there was a report that she pays Shade Room to push her, which is kind of, if you follow Shade Room, you can kind of see that. But I was like, and it's kind of mad, what does Kamala Harris think of black people if she's paying Shade Room to vote for her, but whatever. But yeah, it was you can see the kind of divide in the, let's say, alpha male sub culture, whatever, that Donald Trump's going for, and the kind of obviously Kamala pandering to the black crowd. I'm not saying this is oh, I hate Kamala. No, I don't really care. But I'm just saying obviously she's gonna do that because most black people are Democrats. And yes, yeah, it's just a lot of that. And I think now when the election does happen, and you see who kind of votes for who, we're kind of crazy to see, and I kind of see the effects of these kind of things that they're doing right now. And it's also crazy because I don't think Joe Rogan can even claim to be left-leaning or Democrat anymore. I think it's kind of blatant who what side he's kind of on, and he's kind of come out of the shell now, because he used to really be like one of those, oh, I'm actually a Democrat, I'm actually a liberal, like type guy. But it was like he really clearly was not. He was somewhere more in the middle, because I can get his views on, he's a pro-choice person, and he has a lot of liberal ideologies, but with what he says. But at the same time, it's like fundamentally he really was never, and you can really tell that he was never. He was kind of like, is the word hiding? It kind of is hiding behind the whole, oh, I'm actually a Democrat, but I can say these things, so people can like me, But I think more and more his audience has moved more and more to the right-ish, so he doesn't have to appeal to anyone anymore. Because you see, even when he had that podcast with RFK, how he kind of got attacked for kind of aligning with him, and he kind of like redacted his like whole stance of kind of supporting RFK, which he's been doing for a while. But yeah, just kind of finish this off, like Joe Rogan will die a billionaire, and I think it's because even after all of this, all the deals he makes, exclusive, he's gonna have to sell the podcast eventually, like it's too big of a platform just for it to die. Like when he dies, like I know he says, oh, when it's done I'm done, when I'm done it's done. I don't think so. Eventually, if this platform can garner attention for presidents and shit, like I really doubt like all the media's gonna let it die like that. Like I think they're gonna find a way to monetize this after Rogan calls it quits, unless like Rogan is the show, and even if he goes, everyone goes. But I really doubt. I think the platform itself could be used. I think there's some people who could actually replace Joe Rogan on the like on the podcast, do what Joe Rogan does, and everything. But he's such a unicorn because he has all the like best of all the worlds, like the MMA, the comedy. You need someone like that, to kind of like uphold it. It couldn't just be a comedian or an MMA guy. It had to be someone who kind of is versed in it in the way Joe Rogan is, and still be like, as comfortable and understand, and still, you basically have to find another Joe Rogan. I feel as if, because I feel as if anyone who's even slightly different won't really be accepted by people. But I still think that platform is too big, and whatever that he chooses to do after it, I would say he sells it, and that's easily, I think, whatever you think the worth is, I think by then he would have easily made $1 billion. And it's just crazy. Like, just bet on yourself, like just kind of just you can take from here, like regardless of what you think of Joe Rogan, regardless of who you support. If you just bet on, like, look at the effects of him just betting on himself and being himself, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of inspirational. But yeah, that's more than 5 minutes of your time. But there you go.